everyone, welcome back to Gillian at Mystic Healing Therapies. How's everyone doing today? We're in the middle of the eclipse season, very intense energies, and they can be quite difficult to navigate, so I hope you're doing all right. If you're struggling, everyone, just look to Mother Nature. You know, even if you live in a city area, you can still look up at the sky, you can still look up at people's window boxes and trees and the wildlife that is there. It will really uplift you. And if you're fortunate enough to live in the countryside, it's such an abundance of joy. Yesterday I went for a beautiful walk and just spent a lot of time with a friend, and we were just really blessing the blossoms. You know, here in the UK there's some wonderful blossoms at the moment, so just look to that if you're feeling a bit down. So today what we're going to talk about is unity consciousness. So what do I mean by unity consciousness? Well, in the higher dimensions, so when we move to 5D and higher, everyone is linked to this unity consciousness where we are all part of the one. We are looking at life as being part of creation of everything that ever was and ever is. So that's unity consciousness in the higher realms. Here in 3D, we can quite often feel like it's a divide and separate type of situation where we feel separate to others and it's all about me and mine rather than the collective. So let me give you an example of that. I don't know about where you live, but where I live, and there's definitely been a push in the UK to have lots of really horrible new housing estates go up. So every time you drive through the countryside, there's another horrible housing estate popped up. But that's because they make a lot of money on that. But that's another story. So yeah, if let's say I'm 200 miles from my home and I see a housing estate popped up, I still get that sinking feeling in my heart because I can see that they've destroyed the countryside of that area when there's plenty of brown sites to build on. But somebody might say, well, what does that bother you? You live miles away. Well, it does bother me because, you know, I'm connected to the whole. My whole being is connected for the goodness of everyone, not just my own little patch. And I remember years ago, another example of this, years ago I used to work in Turkey, the country Turkey, beautiful country, beautiful people. But what I realised was quite often if people had a homestead, they would look after the homestead immaculately, but then they'd chuck rubbish outside onto the street because they considered it, that's not theirs. So that's a real good example of sort of divide and separate, me and mine, and not looking at the whole. Whereas here where I live, we very often walk up and down this road litter picking because we want the entire area to look nice. We don't just want our own home to look nice. So we're connected to the unity consciousness of litter picking. We can be miles away from home and we litter pick because, you know, it's the greater good of everyone, the greater good of all. Another example is my healing work. So, you know, I'm an energy director, my primary purpose, and I'm also a healer. So how am I able to connect with you? So let's say you want to book a remote healing session with me and you live in Australia, let's just say. By the way, if you want to find out more, go to gillianengland.com where you can see my website. But let's say you live in Australia and you could think, well, I live thousands of miles away. How can Gillian know what's going on for me here? Well, it's because I'm connected to unity consciousness. So unity consciousness, we're in the field of everything and everyone, if that makes sense. So even if you're in Australia, if I link with that idea of unity consciousness, we're all one, there isn't any separation at all, then I can link with you and your energy field and your auric field, even though you're 14,000 miles away or whatever. I'm not that great at geography, it's probably even further. But time and space doesn't really matter. What does matter is that connection, you know, the unity consciousness of being able to be at one with everything. everything, and that includes being at one with nature, being at one with other people. Another example, just to try to get a clarification of what I'm trying to get at, is I'm very, very happy when I see people around me being successful. It gives me joy in my heart to see other people being successful. So, you know, a few years ago, one of my husband's friends, they're farmers, he had some good fortune and built a massive house on the farmland. And lots of the other people were jealous and saying, oh, why have they built that, etc, etc. But in my mind, it was good on you. You've had the foresight, you've got the fortune, so you go and enjoy your abundance. And so that divide and separate is when you feel less and you feel jealous or you feel lacking because other people appear to have more. But an example of unity consciousness is being happy for others. You know, I remember when I used to work in the NHS, so there's always somebody going on holiday and other people would be, oh, I'm jealous of you, and they meant it, they were jealous, and they used to say, oh, I hope it rains and stuff like that, which is really not very nice. But that's the divide and separate. You know, I always used to love it when people were going on holiday and genuinely from my heart think, you go and have a good time, because where we go one, we go all. So, you know, if we can be happy for others, then we're in unity consciousness. So this is kind of like a pared down example of getting into that zone of realizing that if you can raise one person's heart, it has an impact on everybody. And my home planet of Ricea, it's all about unity consciousness. And the higher realms, we aren't separate. We do things for everybody, and by doing things for everybody, we're doing it for ourselves, because we really are merging and being as one. And I remember when I was a kid, once or twice, I think once when I was in the garden and then once when I woke up, I was really, looking back on it, I was really in that zone of unity consciousness. You know, I felt like I was connected to everything and everyone, and every insect, every blade of grass, I was at one with it. So when you're in that unity consciousness, you won't ever hurt, you know, you won't ever hurt other creatures, even if it's a fly or a bug, because you're hurting yourself. And so that extends to not hurting others as well. So I hope that's been an explanation of unity consciousness in quite an easy to understand way. Yeah, so remember, you can find me gillianengland.com, and if you've not already subscribed to my Telegram channel, my new one, because I deleted my old one because I'm absolutely rubbish at tech, the link's below, so join in. We've got a lovely community. I really appreciate the fact people are sharing their healing endeavours and sharing really, really interesting stuff on there, so I really appreciate it. And also it's a community for people that have never really fit in and always felt overlooked. If you've always felt like you've not fitted in, or people overlook you, or people snub you, that's the place. You know, you'll find the community there, and you know, it's full of wonderful people. Okay, I'll send you lots of love and see you soon. Bye for now.